Hello everyone, this is Vaseem from Edureka and I welcome you all to this live session in which I'm going to talk about how you can make a chatbot in Python. Before we begin, let me get a quick confirmation if you guys can hear me or not. So if I'm audible to you guys, please type yes in the chat box. Now that we have a lot of confirmation, let's take a look at the agenda for this session. So first of all, I will talk about chatbots in general, like the history of chatbots and the evolution as well. And after this, I will talk about the chatbot library in Python and how we can install chatbot in Python. And then we'll take a look at a use case for Flask chatbot. I hope you guys are clear with the agenda. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Edureka for more exciting tutorials and also press the bell icon to get the latest updates from Edureka. Now, without wasting any more time, let's try to understand what exactly is a chatbot. A chatbot is basically a computer program which conducts conversation between the user and the computer through auditory or textual methods. It works as a real-world conversational partner. Now let's talk about a real-world example so that you can relate to it. I'm sure most of you people are familiar with the self-learning language app called Duolingo. So in the initial stages, the users had a problem of not having to implement whatever they have learned in a real-time conversation. To overcome this problem, the app came up with an interactive chatbot, which was actually a blessing in disguise. Because after this, you could actually have a conversation with the bot, which eventually helped you a lot in the learning. Now, this may sound very shocking, but chatbots are not something that are very new to us. The first of its kind came in 1966 called Eliza. It was made by Joseph Weizenbaum. But for obvious reasons, it wasn't something that we are familiar with today, like Siri, Cortana, or Alexa, etc. Now, talking about evolution of chatbots, it took a very drastic turn during these decades, and the future also looks very promising as well. Chatbots are expected to complete around 80% of all the work in the coming decades. But for now, the chatbots are almost completing 30% of the task, which is a lot actually. Now, with the increasing demand, it has become very important to learn machine learning and artificial intelligence. And let me tell you guys, it's not the time to take a back seat. And if we miss out on this wonderful opportunity, we will be watching the progress on the sidelines. And I'm sure you don't want to do that. So start learning machine learning, and you can actually learn machine learning from scratch on Edureka to become a leader today. Now, coming back on the topic, guys, the tasks that are completed by the chatbots include like simple tasks like giving out information or booking tickets, etc. We can even categorize these chatbots into self-learning and rule-based chatbots. So talking about self-learning chatbots use machine learning and AI algorithms to save the inputs they get from the users and use them later. While the rule-based bots actually follow certain rules on which the responses are based. So now that we know what a chatbot is, let's take a look at the chatbot library in Python. So whenever we are making a chatbot, we have to consider a few things like we must know the target audience and we must understand the natural language of communication as well. Also, we have to provide the responses that are required for the target audience. So coming on to Chatbot, guys, Chatbot is a library in Python which generates responses to user input. It uses a number of machine learning algorithms to produce a variety of responses, and it becomes easier for the users to make chatbot using the Chatbot library with more accurate responses. The design of the chatbot is such that it allows a bot to be trained in multiple languages, which include Spanish, there is English, and there are a lot of regional languages as well. On top of this, the machine learning algorithms that we use make it very easier for the bot to improve on its own using the user's input. Chatbot makes it easy to create software that engages in conversation, and every time a chatbot gets an input from the user, it saves the input and the response, which helps the chatbot with no initial knowledge to evolve using the collected responses. With the increased responses, the accuracy is going to be increased, and the program also selects the closest matching response from the closest matching statement that matches the input. It chooses the response from the known selection of statements from the response. I'm sure guys this is very confusing for you, but you'll understand this better when we are working on the use case. So hang in there. And we must also consider the limitations that a chatbot has to overcome in order to be accurate. With increasing advancements, there also comes a point where it becomes fairly difficult to work with the chatbots. Following are a few limitations that I want you to know, guys. So first one is domain knowledge. Since true artificial intelligence is still out of reach, it's only seen in the movies and the books, we still have to go there, guys. It becomes fairly difficult for any chatbot to completely fathom the conversational boundaries when it comes to conversing with a human. The conversation between two humans and a computer and a human is going to be very different because we still have to reach that level of intelligence, and that is one limitation that we come across when we are working with a chatbot. And talking about the next one is personality. So not being able to respond correctly and fairly poor comprehension skills has been more than frequent errors of any chatbot. So adding a personality to a chatbot is still a benchmark that seems kind of far away. But we are more than hopeful with the existing innovations and progress driven approaches. So now let's try to understand how we can install Chatbot in Python, guys. And Chatbot comes with a data utility module that can be used to train the chatbots. And at the moment, there is training data for more than a dozen languages in this module. So I was telling you that we can work on different languages while working on Chatbot, guys. So as of now, there are more than a dozen languages that we can have for Chatbot module in Python, guys. So let's take a look at how Chatbot actually works. So first of all, it will get the input from the user, and then it will process the input and return the value that is generated with the highest confidence. That is actually, the matching of the statement. The most relevant statement is going to be processed, and then you will get the response from the input. So this is how Chatbot in Python actually works, guys. So I'll show you how you can install Chatbot as well. Now talking about training the chatbot. So you have made a chatbot. How is it going to produce the responses that you want? So for that, there is a library called Chatbot Corpus. So it basically has all these responses that you can actually have while you're working on chatbot, or trying to talk to the chatbot. So this is the library that is going to help you. So we can use the Chatbot Corpus, train the bot, and then we can have the responses that we want, the relevant responses. So you'll see in the use case when I'm working on it, guys. So whatever data we are getting for the responses, it's coming out from the Chatbot Corpus library, guys. So now that we know how we can train the chatbot as well, so we will see how we can install all these libraries in PyCharm, guys, when we are working on the use case. And talking about the use case, let's talk about a Flask chatbot that we are going to make now. So what exactly is a Flask, guys? Flask is a micro framework, guys. So first of all, what we are going to do is we'll set up a Flask app, and using the Flask framework, that is. And if you're not familiar with the frameworks in Python, check out the detailed tutorials on frameworks like Flask, Django, etc. on Edureka. After we are done creating the app, we will make two more directories for the the templates and the CSS, which is going to have the HTML and CSS files, guys. So we will train the bot, and then we get the responses when we are making the conversation with chatbot in the Flask app, guys. So let's take it up to PyCharm, guys, and we'll make a Flask chatbot from there. So we are in PyCharm now, guys, and let me tell you a few things before we begin with the project, guys. I have already made the style and index, that is my HTML file. So my template is ready, guys. I'll show you the code from the beginning for the app. And I want to tell you one more thing. So when you're making this Flask bot, what you have to do is you have to install 4 libraries. So I'll show you what all libraries are there. So you go to the project interpreter. As you can see, there is Flask, Jinja 2, and we have Chatbot Corpus. So you have to keep in mind what version you are actually installing. So while I was working on this Chatbot library, the most persistent error that I was getting was I was not able to actually install all these libraries for this project. So what was happening is, actually the reason was I was not using the version that is suitable for this. I was actually using the latest version, so I was getting those errors, guys. So make sure you actually install the versions that are compatible here. So let me show you guys what all errors I was getting while installing all these files. So I'll make a new project, guys, for you, and let's name it as demo, guys. Okay, not demo, let's make it as chatbot 1, and we'll take a new window. So it's actually creating conda environment, so we'll change that as well. So it's gonna take a while. So I just want to tell you guys, you have to check for the requirements that you have for all these libraries that I was telling you about, like Flask, and then there is Chatbot, then Chatbot Corpus and SQL Alchemy. You have to specify the correct version to actually work here, otherwise you will get an error. So I'm going to show you that error which I was getting while installing all these libraries, guys. So it's going to take a while. So meanwhile, I just want to tell you guys, chatbot is something which is not very new to us. It has come a long way. Before in 1966 we have encountered the first chatbot, but we have come a long way from that. And right now we have chatbots like Alexa, and then make conversations, and then we can also book tickets, for example, and then we can get information from the web as well. And using that Google Assistant, we can actually play music as well. So this is the combination of machine learning and AI that we have using these chatbots. And in the future, it's going to go beyond that. So you don't have to sit on the sidelines. I mean, you don't want to be on the sidelines, because this is a booming industry and there's a lot of jobs created for this purpose. And I also told you that we're going to have, okay, we already have these libraries installed here. Okay, let me check, guys, if I can still install it using the terminal. So I'll just write pip install chatbot, because I'm seeing that library already there in the project interpreter. I don't think I'm going to get any errors. But let me tell you guys, if you don't have already installed chatbot, the correct version, that is 1.0.0, and if you're trying to install it on pipe using the PyPy, chatbot documentation, you're gonna have to install it with the correct version. Otherwise, you'll be getting a lot of errors like OpenSSL and all those things. And using different environment as well, you'll be able to install those libraries. Like I did for Conda environment, I used a Conda environment for a while. I was able to install those libraries, but it wasn't working for me because there are a few modules that you need separately. And for that, I just want to tell you guys, while installing all these libraries, you have to keep in mind the correct version that is required for this project. So for Chatbot, it is 1.0.0, the version. And I'll tell you about the Chatbot corpus also. And for Chatbot Corpus, it's 1.2.0, and for SQL Alchemy, it's 1.2. So keep in mind about all these versions, and you will find no difficulty in downloading or installing all these libraries that we need for the project. So let me go to the project again, guys, and we'll start from the beginning, and I will tell you what all we have inside this Flask chatbot. And in the end, we'll be having a chatbot which we can use for making conversations using the corpus or the chatbot corpus that we are going to use to train the chatbot here. I'm sure you guys must be having difficulties understanding this because it's a very new concept and it's not very complicated, guys. And let me tell you, because we are using Flask. Flask is a micro framework and it is very easy to use. You just have one Python file. This is my Python file where I'll be writing the code for that. And we have a style CSS that will be the static directory in which we have the style CSS. And this is my template, guys. So to tell you how the template looks like, let me just copy this code and I'll make a new file here. Okay, I'll just go to the desktop and let me, okay, just take this one. And for this, I will just copy the code here, save it as, let's say, chatbot template.html. And you will be able to see the template that I've made, guys. So I'll just type chatbot template, the file that I just made, guys. It's not showing me any results, guys, so I'll just directly go to desktop, and over here there it is, my HTML file. So this is going to be my template, guys, the HTML file that I've made. So it has a heading, then there is the text for chatbox, and this is a text message which I'm going to send, like, hi, I am Wasim, whatever. I'll just send it and it will get a response from the chatbot. And for better visuals or the style sheet, so as you can see, I'm getting this error which I was not getting before in the project that I have. So for this purpose, I'll show you how you can use the correct version, guys. So I'll go to this, type chatbot here. Here it is. So I'll specify the version as well, okay? So right now it has so many versions. So we are going to be using 1.0.0. So you will see that I will not get any errors while installing this version, because this is the correct version that is going to support the Flask framework here that we are using. And similarly for Chatbot Corpus also, we'll have the specific version that we want to use. So this is how you should start your project, guys. So I'll just close this one and let's go to PyCharm and we'll make the Flask chatbot now. So we have to install Flask library, then there is Chatbot, then Chatbot Corpus as well. So these are the libraries that you have to install, and SQL Alchemy if that is not coming here. So you have to install SQL Alchemy as well. So we'll start from the beginning, guys. So I have a app.py file. So in this I'm going to make the Flask app, guys, and I have two more directories, that is static and templates, guys. So templates actually have my HTML file and static has my style.css file. So let's start from the beginning, guys. First of all, we have to install Flask, guys. So from Flask I will import Flask, and there's one more thing we have to do, that is render template and request as well. Now we have to install Chatbot as well. So from Chatbot we will install, I'm sorry guys, we have to import Chatbot, and from chatbot.train, so we have to import Chatbot corpus, guys. So this is what we are going to use to train our Chatbot, guys. So I have to name my app as well. So I'll name my app as let's say Flask. So this is my app. I have created an app here. So now we begin with the bot, guys. So I will name my bot as English bot and use the chatbot. Okay, I'm sorry, use the chatbot here. And in here I'll name it as chatbot and storage. Okay, wait. Storage adapter is equal to chatbot dot storage dot sql storage adapter. If you want the code after the session ends, guys, please mention your email ID so that we can easily find you guys and give you the code as well. So don't worry, it's a very easy process, guys. And you can actually find the same code, similar looking code on the official documentation of Chatbot as well. So you will see how easy it is to actually make a Chatbot app using Flask, guys, because Flask is a micro framework, as we all know. And talking about frameworks, guys, there is Django as well, but for Django it becomes very complicated, but it has its own advantages because it is a full stack framework, guys. But for this we can actually use Flask as well, because so it's gonna make our task very easier because we don't have to write so much in this. So now we have trained the data as well, so I'll just give the root, and over here I'll just mention a backslash, yes, and now I'll define a, let's say, a function home. So it is actually returning the template. I'm using render template, and in this I want to mention the template that I have made over here, which is index.html. So I'll just mention it here, guys. Now we'll make one more URL, and that is app.root. Okay, I'm sorry guys, there's an error. App.root, and over here I'll just write backslash get, and we will make one more function which is for the bot responses, guys. User text. Okay, this user text, why I'm writing this, I'll tell you guys, so you will understand this better. Request dot arguments dot get message, yes, and we want to return string, which is for English bot dot get response, and if over here we will have user text. So now we are done, guys. This is what you have to write to make a chatbot. This is the easiest way you can do this, guys. And if you're familiar with the Flask framework, guys, it's going to be very easy for you to make this. The only difficulty that you will have for using this Flask chatbot in PyCharm is while installing the libraries, guys, because while I was working on Chatbot in PyCharm, I was having a fairly difficult time installing these libraries. But then I checked the requirement that was on the official documentation, and I checked for the versions that I have to install, and it was done in no time, guys. So I'll tell you what user text and all is here. So this is my style sheet, guys, CSS. So over here you can see the different IDs, that is chat box, bot text, then there is text input, user input, all these things. And this is my script, guys, which is using the bot response. So I will have this using the NLTK. So we're good to go. I will just run this server. Okay, we are not getting any errors, so it should be good. We'll wait for a while and it will give us the address where we will be running this code of ours. Okay, as you can see, it's downloading the package, all these packages. It is training the AI.yml. So we have bot profile, computers, conversation, emotion, food, gossip, greetings, health, money, movies, politics. There is sports as well. So we have a server ready, guys. I'll just click here. So as you can see, we are in the Chatbot app, guys. So I'll just write hi first of all. Let's see what the response will be. Okay, he's asking me how am I doing. So I'll just write I am doing good. Okay, I made a spelling mistake. Let's see what brings us the response after this. Okay, I'll ask him what is soccer. So if you have noticed, let's see what he's going to tell us. Okay, he's saying a game played with a round ball by two teams of 11 players on a field with a goal at either end. So yeah, he's basically giving us the definition of what is actually soccer, guys. So now let's ask him one more thing. Let's say I'm asking him what is AI. So he's gonna give me some answer for this if it's there. So this guy is saying artificial intelligence is the branch of engineering and science devoted to constructing machines that think. Okay, I'm gonna ask him what languages do you speak? Let's see what all languages this bot can actually speak and what is the response he's gonna give us. Okay, he's saying Python because we have actually made him in Python, guys. Okay, let me ask him one more thing. Okay, I'm asking, can you feel? Let's see what the response will be. Okay, he's saying maybe I can. I'm a fairly sophisticated piece of software. So as you can see, guys, this conversation, it's going somewhere and it's actually asking me what is AI. So this is a Flask chatbot we have actually made using the chatbot corpus library that we have used to train the chatbot here. So as you can see, there are a few limitations to this. So if I'm giving him some gibberish, okay, so let's say I'm just telling him my name. Let's see what the output will be or the response that he's going to give us. See, so this is a limitation I'm talking about, guys. So whenever I'm conversing with a real person, it's not going to be the ambiguity that I'm facing right here, because if I'm giving him any gibberish questions or answers, he's just coming up with this what is AI thing. So I think this is something we have to work on while working on Python, guys, because we have come so far with the technology and the innovations. That approach that we are taking for these artificial intelligence and machine learning things, or the algorithm that we have come across so far, it's going to take a very long time. Not very long time, it's going to take a while to actually get the hold of it, the chatbots thing. And if you want a real-time artificial intelligence chatbot, you can actually use TensorFlow, and for that we have a very detailed tutorial on Edureka, guys. You can check that out as well. So now that we have come to the end of the session, guys, make sure you subscribe to Edureka for more exciting tutorials, and also press the bell icon to get the latest updates from Edureka. Thank you.